Someone has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us, and it's time to look back at a home draw against Wycombe Wanderers, and everything that comes along with it. And we'll talk about that over the next hour or so. Mick's back with us first of all. You going, Mick?
I'm very good, my friend. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you very much. Steve's back with us. How are you doing, Steve?
Very well, thank you. Sunday night-ish.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joy's back. How's it going, Joy?
No, not too bad, thanks.
Good to have everyone with us. We have loads in the comments as well. Once I get my mouse available. YouTube user says, good evening, one and all. Miller66 says, evening, everybody. Just love the tribute to Owen Pitt. We couldn't get the win, but at least it keeps the unbeaten run going. Sarah Alton's with us, as is Darren Cook and Jamie Wilkinson. Adam says, evening, folks. Even with him moving on, the ghost of Gareth Ainsworth is still strong within Wycombe and haunting teams. Steve Mix with us, as is Kelly Phillips, Andrew, Richard the Miller, Chris Page, and Baldy Wolf says, evening, guys. Something is happening at Rotherham United. Let's start with kind of non-football related things, I suppose. Yesterday was it felt like a really good day to be a Rotherham fan, Mick.
Yeah.
The community that kind of came with it. That obviously we talked a little bit on the instant reaction last night about the Owen Wilkinson pre-match tribute, everything that came along with it as well, and fans coming together, and credit and hats off to the Wycombe cohort as well, because they show incredible class as well in that as well. And obviously we went to the gig last night. I know a few other people went to the gig last night with Lee in aid of Millermen 25. And again, just a couple of instances which make you proud to be a Rotherham fan.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And a shout out to Wycombe's social media team as well, because they put a fabulous tweet out in relation to what happened yesterday at the club, and it was touching. I think is probably a decent way of describing it. And Lee did his bit last night as well with a song, in sort of memory of him as well. So it was great, and I know his family were there at the gig as well last night, or some of his family and friends were there as well. So, it's tough, isn't it? It is tough, and the town and the club get a lot of stick. 99% of it totally unjustified, but there are times when as a team, as a set of supporters, we can come together, and yesterday was one of those times, and hopefully there'll be many more. Probably, I hope, obviously in better circumstances, but it was a good day, but it was also quite an emotional day, I think, for a lot of people, even people like ourselves who didn't know, we'd never met the lad, but you just feel the pain, don't you?
Yeah, you absolutely do. It makes right, Steve, that football fans in general, but obviously the town in general gets a lot of bad stick, and we don't want to have to come together for something like this, because you don't want this kind of thing to happen. But it shows how much of a family this football club is, and the football community, because you can't Wycombe in that as well. The whole community kind of comes together at moments like that.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I gather their chairman or owner was in touch with our guys earlier on in the week to see what they could do, and I saw the post that Mick refers to, or you referred to, and I just thought it was really sweet. I mean, when I was stood looking at the screen yesterday afternoon, I actually got a lump in my throat, and I like you, I don't know the guy, but it was the way that everybody in the stadium was looking, and that video was a piece of work. It really was. It was wonderful, and I think we underestimate and understate what people in Rotherham have done and can do related to the club, and also related to the town. People. It's a bit like the country at large nowadays. People chin it down, but there's so many good people in this country, and in Rotherham in particular. I'm proud to be from Rotherham. I've lived in Rotherham for years, mind. But I'm still, everybody knows I live in Derby. Everybody knows where I come from, because I tell them all the time. They don't have any choice, because I'm proud to come from South Yorkshire. I'm proud to come from Rotherham, because that's where I was born.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's such a day yesterday, and it is a shame we couldn't just sneak that last goal to make it 100% perfect. And with the gig that was on afterwards, I mean, I can imagine that was something to behold as well, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely was. It was very, very good. Joy, is there anything you want to add on kind of the non-footballing events of yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it was very touching. It was nice to see that Wickham supported it wholeheartedly, their chairman and their media people and the team, etc., and the fans as well. So well done, Wickham. They're not one of our favourite teams, are they? Let's be honest. But when you look at how they support it yesterday, there's no reason not to be like that, though, is it, in the football family? So well done, everybody concerned, to be brutally honest. And I'm a bit like you, Steve. I'm an exile even further away, and I've not lived in Rotherham for knocking up nearly 40 years now. But it's always home. And using an analogy, I always click my ruby slippers in order to return home, because there's no place like home.
There isn't.
And you guys knew where I went last night, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, no prizes for guessing what Joy did last night. Mick, you were the only one of us not on the action last night. I've been accused of being too negative, and like me and Tom were accused of being too negative. Where did you sit on the game? Also, come on to the specifics in a minute. Where did you sit on the game, and how did you feel post game?
At 5 o'clock last night or now?
Both.
5 o'clock last night. I mean, Steve and I spoke before you did the instant reaction, and he said I was a bit of a miserable old git, and you're probably right.
In so many words, yeah.
I was disappointed, and I was disappointed in the result, and arguably the first half performance, but we'll come on to that. But I was disappointed in the result. I felt like we should have had 3 points from it. Given the second half performance, the chances we created, or the openings that we created, I was disappointed that we didn't get the result. I was frustrated by some of the decisions I saw. I was frustrated by, as has been mentioned already, the old sort of ghost of Gareth Ainsworth frustrated me as well to a degree. But now I feel a little bit different. So. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't come on instant reaction, because I'd got the slating that you got as well.
Yeah. What was your take on it? Now, like about 24 hours to kind of digest it and maybe look back at some of the incidents. How's your overall feeling of the game?
The same as similar to what it was last night. I mean, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, I've developed a defense mechanism so that I don't get too upset. I just let it go. I mean, it's been so bad, really, for a couple of years before this season, and the odd match this season. I can't afford at 64 to let it get on top of me. And as I said to you yesterday, I've been bored for so long that second half I thought was excellent. It was two teams going at it, us more than them, frankly. I mean, since last night, I've watched Michael Duff's interview, and he's a miserable git as well, because he didn't give us any credit, really. He just mentioned that we were top of the form table, and he was so disappointed with his guys because in the second half they didn't compete, they didn't win the duels. Well, they weren't allowed to win the duels, frankly. I thought our team did to them what quite a few teams have done to us over the last year and not allowed us to play. And I thought I was proud of the second half performance, but like Mick, unfortunately, I was disappointed we didn't win it. And I was disappointed with the last couple of minutes when there were opportunities to put a good ball into the box and it didn't come in. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the second half. I've kind of expunged the first half from my mind. I'll let Mick talk about that one, or Joy. But yeah, I was quite happy. I was just a bit surprised when Mick said, "Boo."
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm surprised, Steve, to be honest.
Well, I should have expected it, but it was dark. I didn't see it coming.
In the comments, Harry says the only two real chances, one went in, and the other one was a good save from Dawson. He thinks definitely a fair point, but feels like we edged it overall. Bob Dixon said he thought it was a decent game, especially compared to previous meetings with Wickham. Compared to previous meetings with Wickham, it's one of the best games we've seen in years in the fixture. Tom Kiss, a decent point, but draws don't get you very far. Trying to push for the playoffs. Yeah, Joe. I mean, let's go into this kind of specifics of the game. The first half started, and we started off quite well. I thought for 10 minutes or so, we without creating any real opportunities, we knocked the ball around nicely. We looked the threat, and I felt like the goal came against the run of play. Although I don't think we were brilliant, I still think we were marginally the better team.
I agree totally. I thought it was a little bit against the run of play. We had some nice passing. We were, we'd been up that end of the hour, more positive, I think. And like I said yesterday, I think their goal was a little bit unfortunate for us. Had a bit of fortune about it for them, the way that it ricocheted up, the cross ricocheted up. And it was literally just Johnny on the spot. He didn't have to move. He just had to nod it in. I know people have sort of commented about Cam Dawson being lead-footed, but I don't think he could have done anything about it, to be brutally honest. It was just the deflection that sort of caught everybody by surprise, apart from the guy that put it in the back of the net. So, and I agree, it was against the run of play. And then after that, they sort of got the wind in their sails, and we sort of went into our shells, for want of a better term. And it didn't look until sort of the last 10 minutes of that first half that we were ever going to get anywhere near. I mean, they had a couple of opportunities to extend it and missed a couple of sitters, if I remember rightly, to make it at least 2-0 before we sort of got going again. So at half time, I would have bit your hand off for a point, because it just didn't look like we had the opportunity. But at the end, a bit like what Mick said, I think both Mick and I said, oh, that was a bit frustrating, because we could have got the whole 3 points. And as Steve touched on, there was a couple of opportunities to get the ball in the box from Martha at the end and just overcook them, and they flew out. It was just, yeah. It was like a bit like that, but you can't sort of criticise the whole performance in that second half. We were a far better team. But yes, they might not have Gareth Ainsworth in charge anymore, but they're still very good at the old dark arts and the time wasted. And where he got 4 minutes from, there were 2 minutes added on at the end of the first half. I mean, much time did they faff about with it? And there were our goal, there were 4 or 5 substitutions in 4 minutes. Well, I'm sorry. That was just ridiculous. And I didn't think he was a very good ref, old Sebastian. Sebastian
can't count.
Yes. I wasn't very impressed with him. I mean, there's a couple of... what about that one when the rugby tackled Jordan to the floor and gave the kick to them? Do you remember that one?
I don't know. Yeah. Oh, just crazy. It's bad when the entire bench jumps up and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. It was like, what? It's just some really weird decisions, but hey ho, we should know better, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
With referees.
Yeah, absolutely. We absolutely should. First goal, Mick, let's just kind of go through this. There's a couple of kind of key points on it, I suppose. There's Joe Powell getting caught out of position, which I suppose we'll start with. Onyedinma was their massive threat. He was obviously their best player, probably overall man of the match yesterday from both teams. I thought it was really, really good Onyedinma. But should Joe Powell be doing better, or have you got to cut him some slack because of how good Fred is and the fact he's not a left wing back?
Well, there's a lot of questions in there, isn't there? There's a lot of questions in that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be playing there because that's not his position. So arguably, you can't really blame him for being out of position. Fred just, as Tom's put in the comments there, Fred just absolutely tore him a new one yesterday. He didn't know where to go, and I'm a bit disappointed in Matt Amshaw not spotting that earlier than he did. Maybe he did, but he didn't deal with it early enough because all their threats came from Fred. He was, like you said, their best player by a country mile and arguably the best player on pitch. So yeah, he got caught out a couple of times before that, Joe Powell as well, out of position. He did what he could. He got back and he got something on the ball. My initial thought, and I said this to you at the time, I thought that arguably Dawson could have done better. But watching it back, I don't think it was in a position where he could have come out for it. It was too far out, and he was kind of going away from goal as well. So I don't think there's any blame attached to the keeper on that one. And like Joyce said, you know, their player was just in the right place at the right time. It was lucky. Ultimately, it was a lucky goal, you know, because of the way that deflection looped it up. But yeah, it was. Joe Powell was very disappointing for me yesterday, and even when he did come back into midfield, I think his confidence was a little bit short, to be honest. But then I think if you've been run ragged by Fred Onyedinma for 60 minutes, it's probably enough to make anybody's confidence shot, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I think makes maybe right then, this Steve, that it's more on Hamshaw. I know to an extent he's got to play Joe Powell there, but when you've got somebody like Fred, well, when you got somebody like Fred, who we all know how good he is, we probably, with hindsight, we're talking in hindsight now, obviously, he should have done something a little bit different because, what Tom said, it was a complete mismatch, and I just kind of felt sorry for Powell. He just couldn't deal with him.
Well, I think James couldn't deal with him either. I mean, between them.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, there were 3 or 4 occasions. I mean, I sit to the left of the goal, so I had a really good view of that happening. And he was he had acres of space most of the time. And I mean, we bottled him up in the second half, but I mean, I don't know, what would Amshaw do exactly? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point, isn't it? You know, you've set up. He's done well at left wing back, and I agree. He's not a left wing back. He's a midfielder. You got Reece James playing left of your back three. They just didn't catch him. They didn't. They were out of position a lot of the time. I mean, every time he pushed up too far, they spotted it, and I think it was probably a plan on their part to drop the ball behind Powell, and then that brings James out of the middle. But yeah, the goal itself, I agree with Mickey and Joy. It took a deflection, and my brother thought that, you know, Cameron should have done better, but you know, you'd have had to have been some kind of dolphin to get out that far, that quick to do anything different. But yeah, just a disappointing goal because it had been coming, frankly, over a period of 5 or 10 minutes when Onyedinma was running him ragged. But I thought we did well against him in the second half. But yeah, to have him, frankly. I'd love to have him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Tom Case says Hall could have dealt with him, but that would have been reshuffling the entire back line.
Yeah.
Which would be ideal. Kelly Bob says it was much better when Holmes came on. And because James went to wing back, Harry's had thought Holmes kept him quiet when he came on. But he's not going to play 90 minutes.
Agree with that.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we are. I mean, I'm for the record, I'm not digging out Matt Amshaw. I'm just putting the question out there. But that Tom Holmes coming on kind of shows us what I don't think Tom Holmes was fantastic, to be honest with you, but it just allowed us that balance, Joy, and allowed James to go out there and get a bit tighter and play like a natural left wing back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought his cameo was spot on, to be brutally honest. I mean, up until that point when they took Benson off, I was really a bit disappointed in Benson, to be brutally honest, yesterday. I don't think we saw the best of him. So when he came off and Holmes came on, we looked a lot more stable, shall we say. And like we said, it allowed James to be the proper left centre half, as it were, because there was more cover. Not that I think that moving Powell into midfield made a great deal of difference. I don't think our midfield yesterday were at its best at all. No. As I said last evening, I thought that the radar was off for the passing for them all, to be brutally honest, including Gore. although he was more in a defensive role and did that really well, then, recovering possession, and then we virtually lost it again immediately. So that was a little bit disappointing. But no, I thought Holmes's cameo was really good. And I think it augurs well for the future, him working with, what's his name now, the young man?
Baptiste.
Yeah.
Oh, Douglas.
Yeah. I think he's going to be, I think I can see those two being the perfect centre-back partnership going forward, the young Tyro and not that Holmes is old, he's only 25, but he's had a shed load more experience. And I can see that working.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, completely agree. Let's touch on the attacking players, Mick. I'm not going to touch Jordan Hugill yet because this is a different conversation than we're going to have now. We go on to kind of negatives. Joey mentioned Josh Benson yesterday, and a few people in the comments have mentioned Johnny Martha. We'll come on to the good side of Johnny Martha in a minute, but that's maybe why I felt frustrated after the game, because from an attacking point of view, and they are our two best attacking players, they were nowhere near it at all yesterday. Benson just looked, certainly in the first half, he just looked uncomfortable. He looked like he didn't know where he was meant to be, and he looked confused about it, which is weird from a guy who has been brilliant. I remember the Bradford game and the Northampton game. He's a brilliant player, but he just looked off it yesterday, Benson.
Yeah, he looked out of sorts, didn't he? He did look out of sorts. And I think there's a number of issues. I don't think you can just isolate those two. Personally, I don't think you can just isolate those two and say that, they had a bad game. And our game, a lot of our game at the moment is dependent on winning second balls, which is what we did in the second half. We absolutely nailed it in the second half. In the first half, we weren't winning any of them, which means the midfield can't take control of the ball, which means that Benson and Martha have got to basically come back and try and help out to win the ball back, and not get involved up front. So there would. I felt like you that Benson probably didn't really know where he was supposed to be playing. That seemed to be and Andy had an off day as well. And Martha's Martha. He's going to be frustrating. We've said this right from the very beginning. He does drift in and out of games at the moment. I think as he develops and everything else, I think we know he's going to become an absolutely wonderful player. Whether it be for us, well, it won't be for us. It'll be for somebody else, but he will. He's absolutely got it. But at the moment, I think he's got a lot to learn. And I think if he were to leave in January, I think that would be a mistake for him from a career point of view. I think he needs some time to develop. And yesterday proved that, because he at times he was really, really frustrating. Like Joey mentioned at the back end of the game, he had the opportunity to put a couple of balls into the box and he overcooked them. And then 20 minutes earlier, he puts an absolute worldie in for Keane Spence to finish it off. So I think both of them are very frustrating, but more so Martha, the frustrating side. Benson, for me, I think he just had an off day and probably been playing out of position as well.
Yeah, we're all allowed off days.
Yeah,
let's put the hindsight glasses back on for a minute, Steve. Darren Cook says one up front didn't really work. Defo needed another forward. I think probably all of us agree with that. I suppose the hindsight question is, what could Hamshaw have done differently in terms of trying to get more attackers on the pitch or more attacking fluidity in the side? Is there anything he could have done, do you think?
Well, I'm no great tactician, but I couldn't see that many options off the bench that would have made that much difference up front. We just don't have any forwards. Taking up Benson, there's parts of the time when, particularly when I've seen him on the telly, he doesn't look fit. He looks sluggish. He doesn't look snappy in his movements. He's not got that much pace either. So it's a bit difficult with him. I think he's a classy player. And then Martha. So he's had to play them two either side of Hugill a little deeper. I mean, Martha's going to be a great player. He just needs to learn how to play football, frankly. And that means decision making, particularly.
Yeah.
And he's young and he'll learn because he's got natural talent and natural ability. I mean, whether anybody takes him in January, at the moment, I mean, I'm willing to put my doodah on the doodah and say there's no way because he's not ready. Somebody might come in with a sneaky bid, but at the moment, that sneaky bid will be far too low. But he needs to understand what he needs to do at any given time. I mean, like Mick said, that cross for Spencer's goal was superb, but he needs to do that a lot more on more occasions.
Yeah.
As for what I'm sure could have done, I mean, what was on the bench that could have come on to add to the front? There wasn't anybody apart from maybe Jack Holmes, but he's little and he's a similar player to, both Benson and he's not a similar player to Benson, but he could have put him on and add a bit more pace. But remember, he hasn't scored yet, Jack.
Yeah.
For us, and so he's got to score at some stage. So you never know.
We hope so.
But yeah, we're a bit stuck at the minute. We definitely need a couple more forwards. But where we get them from again is another question mark.
Well, one we'll talk about it in a minute, but one may well be coming in this week.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Let's go through a couple of comments. A couple of people going off the talk about being from Rotherham earlier. Steve Mick says he's another exile. He's been away for just over 20 years, but it'll always be home. And everyone, wherever I've worked since I've left, hear about Rotherham, whether they like it or not. Steve Mick says, as the things like the pod really help to keep my connection with the town as well. Thank you very much, Stevie. Michael Miller, although like Stephen Joy, I don't live in the town anymore. That doesn't stop my heart beating faster when I speak in my hometown as well. Absolutely. We all like our well, you should like your hometown, really, but we do. I just want to say hello and thank you to everybody who stopped and said hello to me and Mick and Tom and Danny who were at the gig last night. Nice to chat to some Mick fans out there because there was a lot of Mick fans out there, surprisingly.
Did you sign any flesh, Mick?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
No. Thankfully not.
I was looking forward to seeing the tattoos.
No, thankfully not.
But yeah, really, really good night. We said we get tomorrow, try and get 2,000 subscribers. We want to do something. Last night, Tom got very drunk and sent me some videos at 2 o'clock in the morning singing in a taxi. So if we get to 2,000 subscribers, I'm not asking Tom's permission. I was going to release the videos of Tom singing in a taxi, very, very drunk. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. You don't, but we do. Make sure to subscribe because when we get 2,000, we'll happily embarrass Tom on that one. Right, let's go into the second half, Joy, and the goal. He chose not to change anything at half time, which kind of turned out to be the right decision. I was kind of thinking, is he going to bring Holmes on to mix so he can move Powell out? Is McWilliams, can McWilliams do 45 minutes? But he chose to leave it, and credit to Matt, I'm sure it did work. We instantly built that pressure against Wickham, and they really, although they had a few counter attacks, it was a sustained period of pressure from us. So obviously we didn't need tactical changes. It just needed a bit of tweaking here and there. Nothing massive changed in terms of player or personnel.
I thought we were a bit unlucky that we didn't score sooner than we did, to be brutally honest, because we came out pretty charged up, and sort of that first 10 minutes we had it was pinging about in the box, but nobody could get a hoof or a arse on it to direct it into the back of the net, could they? And like you said, they then had a couple of breakaways which they could have scored from quite easily, but they didn't, and that was positive in itself. And we did finally get a good goal, and it was a good, well-worked goal. And I agree. I don't think there's anything Hampshire could have done because we've just got a dearth of strikers options at the moment. And I think both Steve and I said yesterday evening that we thought Jordan did a commanding, old-fashioned number 9 job yesterday. Yeah. And some of the little touches he did was sublime. I mean, they didn't come off always, but some of the little layoffs and the touches were probably one of the best I've seen him play for quite a while, I would suggest. And it was just unfortunate that some of that didn't come off. And I'd love for him, like I say, to do a number and for it to go in off his arse or something, a la Cambridge. So, more Jordan, more please. I thought he played well and did a good centre forward job yesterday in trying circumstances because their centre halves were two great big souls, weren't they?
Everything up, didn't they? Tom says Hugo was unlucky. Hugo was unlucky not to score with a flick at the near post. It was on its way in until the defender got the ball stuck under his feet. Let's have a couple of minutes on John Hugo, Nick, because we can't praise him enough at the minute. He's literally playing through pain and playing through a big fat ankle, which I'm not sure any of us would want to do or would be willing to do. But his overall game has significantly improved. One of the criticisms when he first came was he constantly holds on to the ball too long. It was a constant conversation we're all having. Just release it, and he's doing it. He's even he's trying a little one-touch flicks, like Joy mentioned. He's laying the ball off quicker. He's just becoming a better player over certainly since Amshaw's come in for me.
100%, yeah, he definitely is. There's some lovely one-touch stuff getting played as well, and he's not got the pace, and he's never going to have the pace given his age. He's not going to get any faster, but he's also trying to create that space, looking to run off the last man as well. He's doing everything you expect except scoring goals. And I think he's in one of those strikers periods now where where they just can't get one for love nor money. That one yesterday that Tom mentioned there would have been an unbelievable goal. It was a fantastic little flick behind him as the ball came across. It was an amazing effort, and it just literally got fallen on. I said to you at the time, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all in front of the goal. But his work rate is phenomenal. And we talked earlier on about the rugby tackle on him on halfway line. I had no idea what happened there. But I would also argue there was an absolute stonewall penalty after 1-1 where his shirt was almost over his head, with the referee looking directly at it. Not just he couldn't see it. It was directly at it. So
we've had some like that before, haven't we? Where the shirt's nearly come. I can't remember who it was specifically.
It was Raggett had his shirt literally taken off his back. He was held on by one arm in the penalty area.
How do the ref defend not giving a penalty when you've actually physically taken somebody's shirt off?
I don't know.
That's a rhetorical question because there isn't an answer to it.
No, there isn't.
But I mean, Hugo yesterday, that little ball that he played through for Spence, which was blocked, he set him through. I was just like, wow, this is a footballer from 5-6 years ago who was going for £5 million. Some of his little touches were phenomenal, and I thought, God, all this time I really didn't appreciate him until recently. How much of a team player he was. Now, I've been down the in-laws today, and one of them knows Callum O'Hanlon. I mean, Callum apparently was still working at the club last year or the year before, and he actually is high in praise for who Hugo is and what he does in the club. So all those rumours that he's a really good guy are true. So, yeah, he's gone up in my estimation massively over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Such bravery. And then yesterday, such a really good performance.
Yeah, completely agree. Probably John's shirt was in tatters at the end.
It was.
It was. Domke saying the penalty was so obvious. He jumped for a header, couldn't reach it because the defender on the floor was pulling him. Harry says the referee didn't even wave away. Sign. It's just bizarre how they've not seen it, not even given it. Yeah, just a bad ref. So we've had him loads. He's just a bad referee. But who cares? Let's move on. Let's move on to positives, though, Joy. The goal that came. Denzel Hall once again involved, because Denzel Hall has to be involved in everything that we do that's positive, because that's the kind of guy he is. But yeah, a sign of two things, really. A sign of what Martha can do, which is a brilliant cross, and also a sign of what Keane Spence can do, because that's, as much as it's a great cross, it's a very, very difficult finish that Spence has had to do. He took it so calmly and coolly.
Yeah, he met it full on as well, didn't he? Sort of on the half volley. And it did come across with a fair bit of speed on it from Martha too. So, and it had a touch of the Frex about it, I thought.
Yeah.
And I think he's starting to I'm starting to get those Frex vibes from him, to be brutally honest. I mean, not total, but he's getting there. He's still relatively young, isn't he? But you can see the acorns there, can't you? The little seeds of growth there into that sort of box-to-box midfielder player that we've missed recently. Yeah, so more power to him. I mean, he got the sponsors man of the match, which is fair enough. I didn't have a problem with that at all. He did put himself about a lot. And he could. I think the only thing was disappointing was in the first half when he went for that shot and it was half-hearted, when he'd have been better laying it off to somebody else who was in a better position. I think it was Martha, wasn't it? I can't remember. I've had a sleep since then. But no, I mean, it was a really good team goal, as I said earlier. I enjoyed it. And there is that, isn't there? I mean, we are playing a lot more on the deck and playing some really good football. It can be a bit tippy-tappy at time. What we need to do is get the speed up a little bit, because once we start playing with that clarity and that speed, I think we're going to be difficult to play against. I mean, we were yesterday in that second half. Once we start pinging it about and getting bodies back into positions that they should be into, rather than square pegs in round holes, I think we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. I look at it as an ugly duckling trying to develop into a beautiful white swan, or whatever the analogy is. But seriously, I think we're making progress, and it's not going to be perfect at the minute, particularly with the circumstances. But I agree with Joy. The style of football is a hell of a lot nicer to watch. Yeah. And we could do with a bit more pace at times. But let's try and be a bit patient. And somebody said early on about going for the playoffs. I'm not going to say that we're going to go for the playoffs, but organically we might end up doing so. We just need to, try and win it each game as it comes. The old cliche. We need to get some players back. We need to get some new players in January, and I think the basis is there. We are looking a hell of a lot better aside than we did even 2-3 months ago. I mean, some of the football we play is consistently excellent compared to last season and the season before that. I know it's not hard to do, but some of the passing movements, they seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. But I think with how far we've come, if that was in September or August, we'd have lost that game, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
No way in a million years we'd got anything.
That'd have been a Stockport game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely would. Andrew Barlos agrees with Joy. I think we finally found have the new Frex in Keane Spence. Now, Keane Spence might not know who Frecklington is, but for a Rotherham fan to compare to Lee Frecklington is very, very high praise. The highest. Really.
Yeah, it is for a midfielder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just one thing on that, on the goal, on our goal. I'd seen it back today, and I noticed Dan Gore when it went in. Dan Gore didn't celebrate at all. And I thought, that's a bit strange. It's a bit weird. And then I watched the whole clip, and that goal comes from Dan Gore
winning it,
walking the ball in our penalty area, back with his backside, and then passing it out. And next minute, he's in their penalty area.
He's trying to breathe.
He probably couldn't breathe. I would have thought. But again, that sums up the work rate and the effort of not only Dan Gore, but the midfield as a whole, because we talked about Spence as well and the work rate that he's got. As a team, it's there. And we said this a couple of times in some of the conversations I had last night. This is a Rotherham United team. What Matt Hamshaw promised when he came in, when he was given this job, was he would create a Rotherham United team. This is one. This is exactly what we've been asking for. And like Steve said there, there's a long, long way to go. It is just in its development, but that DNA that we expect, that work rate, that passion, that desire, that fight is all beginning to come to fruition now. And to be fair, that sequence of the goal yesterday and the way that Dan Gore himself was involved in that encapsulates exactly what we want to see.
Yeah.
There's a bit of Rathbone in Spence as well, so you could end up with a Freck Rathbone lookalike, couldn't you? But seriously, I mean, didn't he? The finish that on the goal. Didn't he have a goal like that in the first half as well? It's a similar sort of sideways on volley to the one he got at Barnsley, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have scored in the first half, if you remember.
That was
the
a straight
keeper made
goal,
a really
wasn't it?
good save.
Yeah.
It was down sort of a foot either side, and he'd have scored, but it just went straight to the keeper, and he palmed it above the crossbar, because that was probably our best opportunity in the first half. But yeah, it's good.
Indeed.
I mean, we forget, don't we, that Wickham are actually one of our bogey teams. We don't actually get a lot of positive results against Wickham, do we? No. And let's be honest, they've been on a good run as well of not losing for the last 8 games. I think ours is 9 games now. I don't know whether theirs is. But not losing is an excellent habit to get into.
Absolutely is. Could agree more. Denzel Hall, Mick, he was involved in the goal.
No, really?
I'm going to let somebody else talk about Denzel Hall, because I definitely talk too much about him. I just think he's just a wonderful player. Paul Davis gave him 8 out of 10, one of the highest in the team yesterday. Talk to me about Denzel Hall. How good is he? How long is he going to be here for? And why in hell is he playing League One football?
Well, hopefully next season they're playing Championship football, but wearing the same shirt. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? He is quality, isn't he? He's just quality, and it's very difficult to add anything more than what you've already said about him in the past. But you just know that when he gets on the ball, particularly from an attacking point of view, that he's going to cause problems. And if we're in and around the opposition box and Denzel Hall pops up, it's like, oh, come on, something's definitely going to happen here. Yeah, he is a quality footballer, and with the greatest of respect to my own team, he should not be playing in the Rotherham United shirt, but he is, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of him while he's here. He's got pace. Defensively, he's as strong as anybody else in any other defender in the squad for me. And going forward, he's the perfect wing back, isn't he? He's probably more. He's an excellent defender, but probably better going forward. You know?
He's a modern day.
Oh, absolutely.
Wing back, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
wing back.
Of course, he should be with us. We found him.
True.
Come on, mate.
You're right.
Our scouting network found him. Nobody else spotted him. We put 300 grand on the table or whatever it is, and we've got him.
Yeah.
And I just hope, like you, that he's here all season. I honestly can't. People started talking about selling, or we might end up having to sell. We won't have to sell unless somebody shoves 3 million on the table, for example. But he'll be here all season. Touch wood. And then it would be great if he suddenly appeared in the Championship dressed in a red and white shirt with a Rotherham United badge on it. Full stop. Full stop.
I think that's the only way we see him next year. A red and white shirt is in the Championship, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Race Miller doesn't think, he thinks Hall will not be here after the transfer window. He doesn't think. DLG says, I love when Denzel created that chance for Spence and he had to run around the linesman. Yeah. Tom Case, as Martha said a few weeks ago, that Hall is the only defender he can't beat in training. I don't remember Denzel Hall being beaten in a game this season. He's just ridiculously good defensively. It's just insane.
Just rapid, isn't he? He's just rapid.
Even in that position.
That ball he chased.
From,
as I looked at it, from right to left in the second half. That's just ridiculous. I thought he was Usain Bolt for a minute.
Yeah, he's such a player. And then listen, absolute hats off to Rob Scott. 100% credit to Rob Scott for finding the players that he's brought in this season. Obviously, at the request of what Matt Amshaw was wanted, and he's brought him in, and he's brought him in at some really, really, really good recruitment. We're talking about the Hall and Martha particularly, and Kean Spence we've talked about. Yeah. Benson we're talking about. Yeah, he had a bad game yesterday, but you know, the recruitment, now the leash has been taken off, is just absolutely top draw. And to be fair, Rob Scott was at Brentford when they started their build towards where they are now, and that's why they got where they are now, doing exactly what Rob Scott's trying to do here.
Yeah.
Why we've waited for 4 or 5 years, however long Rob's been here, to allow this to happen is remarkable. It puts us back 5 years, but anyway, that's the past. He's doing it now, and he's doing it well. So that's off to him for me.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what January brings. No one knows what gems we might find in the window. The goal, I was still on the goal, Joy. I think the goal summed up maybe our frustrations for the last 20 minutes, because Wycombe's defence just, like I mentioned, gobbled up every cross. They're two giant defenders, and it took a different kind of cross to score the goal. It was a little bit deeper for the Summit to run onto, but then we didn't seem to learn that lesson. So for the rest of the game, any cross we put in were just still kind of a little bit floaty in for the guys to gobble it up. We didn't seem to learn the lesson that we almost taught ourselves from the goal.
And that's Martha, isn't it, all over, what we've already touched on, him being sort of a young, naive player with lots of development required. You know, we've already touched on the latter end of the game when he put those two crosses, overcooked them and put them behind. I mean, this is what you do. I mean, we're a team that has to invest in people that have the capacity to develop. We're not going to buy the ready-made, off-the-shelf, players that everybody may have the opportunity to do so. We've got to buy them rough and ready, the rough diamonds, and polish them up and then sell them on, because that's what we're going to have to do, to keep viable and to keep going forward. But hopefully, when they play back yesterday's game, they will take it on board and they'll go to Martha and say, look, try a little bit. Don't have to be a long floaty job at it. Can you do a little flatter one? Cut it back. Yeah. Who knows when it gets in? If you do cut back, you can go off on the defender's legs as much as it can off a Rotherham player or anything like that. So, I mean, I'm hoping that when they go back and revisit games and pull them apart tactically, that these are the sort of things that they'll be feeding back to the players for future development.
Yeah,
one would hope so anyway.
yeah, absolutely would. One thing that did shine me, I thought, yesterday, in the last 15 minutes of the game, was just basically our fitness levels. There was only one team that was constantly doing something in the last 10 minutes of the game. Wycombe, half of their team looked out on their feet. They look absolutely done. And we kept going like we didn't create the opening. That's fine. Whatever, that's fine. It's not fine, but it's not great, but it is what it is. I just thought we were just constantly relentless. And that was without barely any subs as well. We didn't make too many subs yesterday either. Fitness levels, for me, I think, are really starting to shine through.
Yeah, they are. They are, definitely. And that makes the first half all the more frustrating, doesn't it? Because if we played at the same level in the first half, we would have definitely won that game yesterday. But yeah, they were on the backsides come the back end of it. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to us, really, should it? We knew that was what was going to happen. And also we're suffering the consequences of that fitness to a degree because of the injuries that are being picked up in training. But that should even itself out over time, hopefully. So yeah, it credit to the management team, isn't it? 100%.
Yeah,
and to the team as well, and to the players themselves as well, for absolutely nailing it and taking it on.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. Is there anything else on the game anyone wants to mention? We've got Salford to talk about on Tuesday and another thing, but is there anything else we want to mention on the game before we move on?
Just on the crossing, it's not just Martha that frustrates me. It's particularly down the left-hand side. They do put the odd really good ball in, James and Powell, and I find that sometimes they cross from not close enough to the byline. They're too far in, so it's a bit easy for two big lumps like they had to head away. But I think that's something that we have to improve on, particularly delivery into the box. I think I mentioned it last night afterwards. So, but that's all from me.
I agree. I completely agree with that. Tom Case, anybody see the scrap involving Dan Gore? Nobody who I've spoken to kind of saw too much.
We saw Gore put his hands on this guy's shoulders. Fortunately, he didn't hit him.
Yeah.
But don't know what the guy did to Gore. I was too busy looking at Cam Dawson's lovely fluorescent yellow strip.
Yeah. If anybody's seen...
I'm going to say, Dawson was incandescent, wasn't he, though? With rage.
Yeah, it was.
You know, he was really having a go at the linesman, big time. I thought he must be careful. He might get a card himself.
He was going to stick his finger up the linesman's nose.
Yeah, he was absolutely livid, weren't he? Yeah. I was told that there was a headbutt, and Andrews mentioned there in the comments that the defender headbutted him. Obviously, I didn't see it, but Cam Dawson definitely saw it. Whatever it was that happened, Cam Dawson definitely saw it.
Yeah, fair enough. What I would say about Dan Gore, by the way, is I think that incident showed his actual maturity. I think certainly do, that Dan Gore's an absolute hothead and is a red card waiting to happen. It would have been really easy, and we've all seen other players get involved in an incident like that, and then 5 minutes later do something stupid and get a second yellow card and walk. He just after it finished, he wasn't involved in anything else for the rest of the game. He played really, really smart, and I think that shows the level of maturity that I didn't know he had, but now we do know that he does have it in his game as well. So, a little bit impressive, other than his ridiculously good footballing ability. But yeah, right. No league game for 10 days, is it? Something like that, Joy? We'll talk about Salford in a minute, but is it a good thing? We're on a good run of form. Would you prefer to have a game next week in the league? Obviously, in the FA Cup we lost, but is it a good thing to have a break from kind of meaningful football for 10 days or so?
I would personally say, under the circumstances, no. I think we'd have just liked to have carried on in the same vein. But then again, being Rotherham, would we have carried on in the same vein? Who knows? Particularly as we've got, banana skin called Salford on Tuesday. So, it swings around about, that 10 days. Does that mean we're going to get more bodies back playing? Swings and roundabouts, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, hopefully, I think they're expecting Baptiste will almost certainly be back for the Blackpool game, which is the one in a week or so's time. I think Jules will be pretty close as well, and Nombi maybe. Obviously, we'll find out in a pre-match presser, but maybe Nombi got him back as well. So that'd be useful for us to get those players back. Tuesday, 7:00, make Salford City away. Second time this season we've played Salford City. We won on penalties in the League Cup first round with a very weakened team. How much weaker will this team be than when we played them in the first place? Would it be super weak, or would you be saying, right, assuming Watmore signs, right, give Watmore an hour, give Thomas Holmes an hour?
Yeah. Because
we haven't got a game Saturday, can you take a bit more of a risk?
I think so. I think you can. There are some players coming back, and it's been mentioned in the comments there that Marvin Coletta being not far off either. So, look, it can't be any worse than the previous game against Salford, can it? Because that was so bad. That was dire, that game. But yeah, I think there will be a lot of the players will be rested, but I think they'll be the names you've mentioned there. Jack Holmes will play, I would have thought. I suspect Benson may play because he obviously needs the game time. What more if he's here? If he is going to be a Rotherham United player, but I think there will also be changes. it's not a massive. Well, it is a massive game, isn't it? Because we've got it's World Cup year. We've got to go to Wembley next year.
We do,
So we really need to stick in there just in case we don't make automatics. So yeah, it's a big game for us. Raggett, get Raggett on.
It's back
Up front.
Yeah, true. How high is this on the list of kind of priorities, Steve? I think, is it more just a minutes thing, a glorified friendly, or should we be taking this super serious because of the lack of game Saturday and a potential trip to Wembley?
How do you define super serious? I mean, obviously, I want us to win the game, but also I think it's actually probably a good thing we don't have a league match for a week after, purely and simply to get players back. I'd agree with Joy that if we had a full squad at the moment, just carry on because we're on a wave of form at the minute. But I mean, it can be used Tuesday to rest some players. I mean, I think Hugo probably needs not to play.
Yeah.
What makes you that, Steve?
I don't know. I'm very insightful. He'll not play, so they've got to find somebody to play up front. I mean, I'm curious as to why you keep mentioning Watmore's name. But there'll be Yearwood and Jack Holmes, and then they'll be playing. I should reckon he'll have some of the first team players on the bench just in case. But I can definitely see him making 5 or 6 changes. Whether that'll make a team up with people in the right positions, then I don't know. But it's obviously not as important as the league, but it's something we'd like to win because we were there 3 years. Was it 3 years ago? 2021?
22.
And it apart from it being an awful match, we actually won the cup. So I'd love to do it, but if it gets in the way of the league, then let's just get through it without any injuries, and maybe the odd player back on the bench to start with, and then ready for a week after that, which is Blackpool.
Yeah, I agree. Andrew Barlow says Killian Yearwood also.
Drew Yearwood. I'm a big fan of Drew Yearwood. I want to see more of him. I know there's no place for him. I know at the moment that he ain't got a place in the squad because of the way that other players have been performing. But what a backup he is! He's a hell of a player. I think so. Yeah,
I agree. I think we'll see changes, but obviously we'll see change. I suspect Ted can or could play as well. But we'll see. We'll see if anything comes tomorrow. See if we get an advent present tomorrow with Duncan Watmore's. Twitter's rife with rumours that it's a done deal. We've all seen Twitter rumours before, and we've all seen how badly wrong they are. But everything seems positive at the minute, so let's wait and see. We'll talk about that Thursday. We'll probably do an episode Thursday, although there's not much to talk about. We'll probably do an episode anyway. We'll find something to talk about.
There's a game on Tuesday, so we could talk about
that. Should we do an in-depth review on Rotherham Salford in Virtue Trophy?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think that's essential.
We could branch out into Ash's preview for 4 o'clock the following morning.
Yeah.
That'll last about 3 minutes before we start crying.
That's about as long as England will bat for.
Yeah, exactly. And in that period, they'll have scored 250 all out.
Don't waste all this. You're going to talk about it on Thursday.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm done. Is anyone else got anything else you'd like to mention? Any of the comments got anything else you want us to mention? I've ticked off all the players I want to talk about.
I think me and Mick got the score right, didn't we? Did we go 1-1? Or you went 2-1, didn't you? I think I got my first score right.
You went 2-1, Mick, yeah.
Oh, you're joking.
Steve
you changed your mind.
I did change my mind, yeah. You're right.
I've got the league table because Kev's got got 2 1-1s in a row, Kev. So Kev might be on a bit of a run here. So we'll have to. I'll have to update the table before the next game, so we can all see where we are, how badly we're all doing. Right, we will end it there. Caleb was asking about what more. Yeah, there's rumours he's coming in. Don't know. We'll see. All we can say is we'll see. It sounds positive, but if he signs tomorrow, I think he'll play Tuesday. But he might not sign tomorrow, so we'll have to wait and see. Right, we will end it there. Thank you all for watching. Like I said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, please do make sure you do so. And then you get to see Tom drunkenly singing in a taxi. It's funny.
It's free to subscribe, so it don't cost you anything just to see Tom drunk in a taxi.
Exactly. What more do you need? You don't need it.
Exactly. Just press the subscribe. I'm going to have to tell people at work to subscribe.
Yeah.
All of them are Derby and Forest fans, so, you know.
Yeah. We welcome everybody. We're all encompassing.
We're a welcoming town.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, make sure you 5-star rate and subscribe, whatever it allows you to do. We will be back on Thursday, as I mentioned, for the review of the Salford game, plus anything else we can find that is slightly Rotherham United related or not. And then normal service will resume when Blackpool come in. When Blackpool's game kind of signals the start of almost the festive period in a short space of time. So that's a really exciting time of the year. So, yeah, thank you, Mick. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Joy. It's been a fun episode today. I really, really enjoyed it. We will see everyone next time. Thank you for watching. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers. Bye.
Comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots. Ravel. Vicious. But brilliant. The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United. Wood's got round the back. And Richie Wood has done it again. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.
Do me a favor, drop me off